Uh-oh, but it had to happen. One man down. But I've got a new part coming and it shouldn't be too bad. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog. It is vlog number 431 for November the 17th, 2025. And today is a big day here in Canadian politics, but we'll talk more about that a little later on. And it's a bit worrisome as well. So let's take a look at something that's a little less worrisome, and that's my current projects. Now, I'm just giving you a sneak peek here on the vlog. Tomorrow on Idiot Quilter, I will talk about each of these in a little bit more detail. A couple of them I had some little problems with, but I did recover from those, and I will talk all about that then. But this is the table runner that came from a kit that I picked up back in the end of September when we went on the shop hop. And it's very modern in its look, and I like the colors in it, and this needs to go on Lucy and be quilted. I have another one out there in the Lucy room, another table runner, a Christmas one that I need to get done too. So maybe tomorrow I'll get the two of them on Lucy and away we will go. Let's see here. The next thing I want to show you is this, another table runner. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I will tell you about that tomorrow. It's very lacy, as you can see, reminiscent of, doilies kind of a thing, crocheted. I used to do that at one point in time, but there are some other problems with this, and I will explain that again tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. And this little cute guy, the gnome, he turned out quite nice, but there is a problem. Yes, there was a problem. I recovered from the problem. You can't see the problem or the mistake that I made. Actually, I didn't make the mistake. The machine made the mistake. Yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But tomorrow on Idiot Quilter, all of these things will be revealed. Okay, so that takes me to YouTube channel of the week. And this one's called Our Own Devices. And if you like gadgets, and I definitely like gadgets, then you're going to kind of like this. Well, not kind of, you will like this YouTube channel. And this is a clip that explains exactly what I'm talking about. If you like gadgets, and I definitely love gadgets and always have, then you're going to like this YouTube channel. It's called Our Own Devices, and the gentleman who puts this up, called Canadian MacGyver, and he is a Canadian, which is nice to see as well, has put up a lot of old things that we may remember from our childhood, or old things that have entered into the world of antiques that were used by businesses or by the everyday person as, great gadgets for home use or for business use, like mimeograph machines, ditto machines, calculators. In fact, one of these sections has something about a little handheld calculator that I had as a kid, and actually I think my grandmother had one, and I used to play with it for hours. But those were simpler times, and this is basically what this site is about the gadgets that were in the past that were time savers, innovative for their day, and where some of our modern gadgets and things have sprung from. So if you're into that kind of thing, then you want to check out this YouTube channel called Our Own Devices. So the link for that is in the show notes below, and you'll also find a link for a couple events this week. Of course, Sewing with Stephen is always in the show notes because we do it every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time start time, and we finish around 4 in the afternoon. Come and go as you please. All are welcome. So the link is down there, and I just sent out before recording this the email to the people on my email list with the Zoom link. But you'll see another Zoom link. Now, don't get the two of them mixed up, okay? Because they go to different events. The very first one you'll see in the show notes is for the next Idiot Quilter Pop-Up Sew Day, which is this coming Saturday, November the 22nd, 2025. We start that one at around 8 in the morning, and we'll go to 4 in the afternoon with it. Again, all are welcome. bring whatever you want to bring to work on, get caught up on, and I'm sure you've got some projects for the coming Christmas season that you want to get done. So it's a great time to work with your fellow quilters, have friendly chat and banter, and get a project done, or at least get, close to done with it. So that's this coming Saturday. And as I said, I've already sent out the link to those on my mailing list. But for those of you not on the mailing list, by the way, if you want to be on the mailing list, easy to do. Just send me a request via email. Say, hi, can you put me on the emailing list? And I will say, hi, I have. Great. And it's done. It's that simple. And I don't send out a lot of emails. Usually only about one, maybe two in a month that are about the pop-up sew day. That's it. Yeah, I'm not a business, so I'm not going to inundate you with products or anything like that or advertising. Okay, so as I said, you'll find the link for the Idiot Quilter Pop-Up Sew Day in the show notes. And what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, it runs from 8 until 4 in the afternoon, Eastern Time. Okay, and then there's other links there for all kinds of other things, so check those out. Okay, so that takes me to what the weather's like outside, so let's take a look. There it is, snowy. Yeah, well, it is Canada. It is a little surprising to us that live right here in this area that I'm in, because we live next to the lake, and this time of the year we might get a little light snow, but it doesn't usually stick around. Well, there wasn't any snow yesterday, and until about late in the afternoon, this started. It is not, I don't think, snowing right now, but my car is covered and I have to go out later for an appointment. And yeah, so I'm going to have to get out there, warm up the car, brush the car off. This is the problem with living in an area that gets snow. It's probably a little slippery out there. Walter usually salts things down. I don't know, he may have gone out last night and did a little bit. Doesn't look like he got around to it. But then again, there probably wasn't that much when last night before he went to bed. So anyways, yeah, this will be fun, and I have to drive in it today. And although there's not a lot, the roads will be bare. People on snowfalls here in Canada, which is crazy, just suck when it comes to driving. You got to be very, very cautious when you go out there, because some people drive in the snow like they drive when it's the middle of the summer, like banshees going to hell. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, take it easy, people. Roads are slippery, and a lot of people may not yet have their snow tires on. In fact, that's what Walter's doing today. He's got an appointment at Costco to have his tires changed out to his snow tires. And yeah, snow tires are a good thing in this environment. But anyways, what's it saying? The temperature right now is 0 degrees, so it's just freezing. So that means as the sun comes up, a lot of this will probably start to melt away. It's going to get a little bit sloppy. Do we have any more snow in the forecast today? It doesn't look like it. And it doesn't look like we have any snow in the forecast for the rest of this week. We do have rain on Friday, and the temperature is going up. Today it's supposed to go to a high of 3 degrees, and tomorrow as well. Then Tuesday 4, Wednesday 5, 7 on Thursday and Friday, and then 5 on Saturday, and then 7 on Sunday. And now Monday, the long distance forecast is saying 10. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have a green Christmas. That is not unusual right here where I live. But then again, you never know. The weather is really not predictable, regardless of what they tell you. Okay, so speaking of things that aren't predictable or are predictable, because there's been a lot of predictions lately, today is budget day in our federal government. Now, for us, it's a little different than what the United States do. They just came out of a shutdown for a month over their finances. We don't have that, but we do have something else. The budget comes out today, and they vote on it. If the vote goes through, yay, that's our budget for the next year. Um, if it doesn't go through, if it gets defeated in the vote in the House of Commons, then we go to the polls, because that is called a non-confidence vote, and it means government will be dissolved. The Prime Minister will go to the Governor General and respectfully request to dissolve Parliament, and it will be granted, of course. And we go to the polls, and nobody wants to go to an election just before Christmas. Nobody does. So why is there this potential? Well, here's the situation. We have a minority government, meaning that the government that is in power won the most number of seats, but not enough to control the House of Commons. That means the opposition came very close. And if any of them, well, if any of the liberals who are in power vote against this budget, which they shouldn't, or decide not to vote, which is a possibility, then this budget could be defeated and we go to the polls. Now, the opposition is the Conservative Party. And for you Americans, the Conservative Party is not quite the same, but on the same level as the Republicans. Just not quite as crazy yet. And they are always trying to defeat the government. In fact, they spend so much time in fighting between the two parties that nothing gets done. That is the problem with a minority government. Now, there is another party, and there are some independents. There's a couple of other parties that have a seat or several seats in the government. So what our government needs to do is, if they want to win this vote, they need some people from those parties to vote in favor of it as well, or abstain from voting. Because if they abstain from voting, that, in a sense, will allow this budget to go through, if there's enough of them. Now, our minority government is very close. We are only 2 seats away, the Liberal Party, from having a majority. Only 2. They were 3. Actually, they were 4, I think. 3 or 4. One of the members of the opposition party, the Conservatives, crossed the floor. What that means is he was pissed off with his own party and the leader of his party, Pierre Poilievre. A lot of people are pissed off with him right now, and walked across and joined the Liberals. He is now a Liberal. So that gives him a vote. And of course, he's going to vote for the budget. Another Conservative MP, Member of Parliament's what MP stands for, he has resigned. Well, he has and he hasn't. His resignation does not go into effect until sometime in the new year. But in the meantime, does he have a right to vote? Well, he has, although he's given up his seat, he's still in Parliament until the official resignation. So it's kind of out there whether or not he has a vote. I think what most political analysts are predicting is that he just won't vote at all. So in a sense, by not voting, he creates one less, or creates a new seat, theoretically, for the party in power. So that means they're only 2 seats away from having a majority. And then if with a majority, they'll all vote for the bill and it'll go through. The budget will go through. So we're sitting on pins and needles waiting to see what happens. The Conservative Party, through their leader, Pierre Poilievre, are saying a lot of strong things right now and voicing their opinion, saying they are not going to support the budget. However, there is some dissension within the ranks. We're not sure. There could be some of those conservatives who decide not to vote at all. If that's the case, the budget will probably go through. We don't have to worry about an election. Now, the whole problem with this situation is really showing you the state of our politics right now. There's this infighting happening between the two major parties. And as I mentioned a little bit ago, when they're fighting, they're not passing laws. They are not doing the job of the government, which we hired them to do. Because, yes, we hired them. We voted them in, but we also hired them because it's our tax dollars that pay them, and they get a good salary. A damn good salary. Great work if you can get it. So they need to get off the pot. They hurl insults back and forth at each other in very clever ways during question and answer period when they should be dealing with the job of running our country, especially right now. We need to be strong. We have threats from outside, i.e., Trump. We need a united front to get things on track and to protect our country from him. We can't be divided. Divided, we become conquered, and we don't want to be conquered. So grow up, you little boys. And that's what they are. They're just little boys in suits in Parliament. They're rich little boys. They're entitled little boys. And I should say girls too, because we do have ladies in Parliament as well. But they're all acting like children. They always do. This is what we put into power. And the reason we do is because clearly sane people, logical thinking people, people who really care about the people of this country are not running for government because they don't want to be part of the fray. They don't want to get into the gang wars that are happening there. Grow up. Stop infighting. We have something very, very valuable to us on the line, and that's our country. And that's our identity as Canadians. It is under threat. We do not need an election right now because there's one idiot in the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, who wants to be Prime Minister, and he would suck at it. He is an entitled little child who has a bare minimum of an education and has never had a real job in his life. He's just moved his way up in the ranks by kissing one a-hole after another to get to the part he's in. He needs to go. And he might. It's hard to say. He's a bully as well. Actually, he's a mini Trump, if you really look at it. Yeah. So today we have our fingers crossed. We have them crossed that Mark Carney, our Prime Minister, that his party gets this budget through, because he is the only defense we have against Trump. He's a smart man. He's an intelligent man. He knows what he's doing. So stop this childish play here. All of you. You worked for us. We don't work for you. We put you in power. And I guess that was our mistake for that. So do the job you said you were going to do in the first place. No more hurling stones at each other across the house. Okay, let's move on to the grow lights and how things are doing. Well, we have your gnarly lettuce here. There you go. Very edible. Just looks weird. Yeah, looks weird. Now we have new lettuce coming up because Walter planted some more. And we have basil over on the side, and it seems to be doing very well too. And it'll get much bigger as time goes on. But then we have the jungle. Yes, these are our tomatoes. And we have tons of tomatoes. Now they're green at the moment, but they're coming on. Don't know how long they're going to take before they'll ripen up, but you can see over in the one side over by this red weird looking watering can or pitcher, whatever you want to call it, that these ones have a little bit of red on them. So they're coming along. Way back in the back 40 here, there is a pepper plant. And there's a couple of pepper plants, and there are some peppers on this one, orange ones. And I think they might be turning a little red too. But we have those way back in the far corner. So yeah, when we need a pepper, we can get a pepper. So this is coming along very well. But this looks very much like a Amazon forest in miniature. Um, and that's because these tomato plants, and you've heard me say this before, are kitchen tomatoes, they call them. And they're really a low growing bush as opposed to a tall, stocky thing, which this makes them really ideal for undergrow lights in the setup that we have. So I'll keep you posted. We'll watch our tomatoes ripen. And here's a little close-up shot too. See these ones over here? I think they're turning red. Either that is a reflection off this watering can. But we live in hope for our crop. Okay, so that takes me to new products. Well, don't have really any new gadgets or anything to show you, but I did stock up on stabilizers for my embroidery machine. Thought I should because I was getting a little bit low, so I dropped about $400 on stabilizers. Yeah, I should be good for a while, but that's the only thing new that I have purchased in the last week. So how are things going with the 3D printers? And can I print those effing things? Well, I did these. Yes, I saw these letters and they're very, very fancy. And I thought this might be fun to print out. Well, one thing led to another, and I printed out both of our names. And I think they look pretty good. So what am I doing with them? Oh, I had to design this simple base for them as well, and then I glue gunned them to that. And what am I doing with them? Well, you will notice them in some of the videos, and you can see them today over my shoulder in front of the printer poop light display. And so yeah, they'll be in the background of any of the videos that we make. I think they look kind of cool. It was just another one of those things I had to try to do, and that's the thing with 3D printing. And that's about it as far as what I've been printing. But I had a problem. One of my 3D printers, one of my bamboo ones, my X1C, my original X1C, wasn't printing things properly. Stuff wasn't sticking to the bed like it should. And I cleaned the bed all off and did it again, and same problem. And my conclusion was that I need to replace my hot end nozzle. So I thought I had a spare one. I thought that I'd bought it. So I thought it was very easy to change out. I thought it was a quick change system where you just flick a couple of clips and pop it out, pop the new one in, and away you go. No, I discovered. I had to take it apart. Now, that's not difficult. It's a little awkward. As anything that's made in China, if you try to repair it, they have little tiny fingers, I swear. Those people know how to use tweezers like nobody else in the world. Because you can't get your hands in there. And I don't have big hands. But nevertheless, I screwed around with it. I got the old head off and I went to replace it with the new one and discovered, nope, the new one I had is meant for the H2S bamboo printer, and that's the one that had the easy change out. The X1Cs, not so much. I have to unclip 3 wires. I have to take out 2 screws. That releases it from the machine, and then there's a fan attached to it, so I have to take out 2 more screws and take the fan off. And then the idea is you put the new head on. Of course, in the process, you're also taking apart the little ceramic heater, which heats up the nozzle, and the thermistor. And the thermistor is a little teeny fragile little wire that goes into a little hole, and that's what regulates the temperature. It's the thermostat, basically. So I did all that only to discover I did not have a replacement. What I thought was the replacement hot end was not for this machine. It was for the H2S. So I put it all back together again and hoped that maybe just by doing that, for miracles of miracles, it would print fine. No. That did not solve the problem. So I disconnected all the power to the machine and I went onto Bamboo Labs YouTube channel, or not YouTube channel, onto their store online, and I purchased two, not one, but two new complete assembly hot ends. Now, I could have saved a little money if I had just bought the actual nozzle and the base, but that would have meant that I'd have to reattach the thermistor, the fan, and everything else, and all the wires. And I thought, for the difference in price, I'm just going to buy the whole unit. So all that means is I just have to unplug the old one. I don't have to, take two screws out to drop it out of the carriage on it. Plug the new one in, put in the two screws. It's done, and it should work. Now I'm waiting for this to arrive. It has not yet arrived, the new hot ends. So hopefully they will arrive by the middle of this week, if not sooner, and I can get this up and running again. Thank goodness I have two other bamboo printers, but I miss this one because I like to run all three of them all the time. Yeah, my little sweatshop here. And speaking of sweatshops, yes, I've still been making 3D printed Christmas things. You have seen all the ones. I'm just topping up the supply right now. So I've got a couple of other Christmas prints that aren't for gifts. They're ones that just look like fun to print, and I want to try those as well. So that's what I'll be doing this week, and I really want to get the other printer up and running so I can do these a little quicker. Okay. So that takes me to past video clips from Stephen and Walter Live. Now, this one is not a real cheerful clip. What I'm showing you here is the frustration I was having at the time with my mother and hospitals and doctors. When my mother wasn't really able to really care for herself, that was not a pleasant moment in my life. And to be very honest, a lot of the details of that time in my life I have put in the back burner, and I don't remember a lot of it because that's how traumatic it was for me. Luckily, I have my thoughts recorded on past videos because I can revisit the drama. But anyways, I'm sharing this with you. And I also know that many of you are experiencing something similar with your aging parents as well. And so I don't want you to feel like you are alone, because you are not. Many of us have been through this. There is no right way to handle it, although there are those out there who will tell you exactly how to handle it. But each situation is unique, and it's okay. You'll get through it. You're going to feel like crap. You're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel frustrated, but you will get through it. So I thought this might be a good clip to put up here to show you just that. Just so you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel as well. Well, Mom was in the hospital. She's still in the hospital. So a quick little update. She's fine. She's had a CAT scan. She's had an MRI. We haven't got the results of the MRI yet. She had that late Friday afternoon, and so we'll have to probably wait till tomorrow to find out if they found anything. And I doubt that they found anything at all. In the meantime, they got her up to walk last week. The physiotherapists were checking out her mobility, and they've been doing a few little exercises with her. Not very major kind of exercises. And they got her up onto her walker, two of them, took two people. And one person is kind of holding the back of her gown closed, thank God. And they took her down the hall. The other one's got her hand on her back, like giving her balance, and kind of holding her arm while my mother's holding the walker. I have never seen my mother in 4 years walk that fast.
Yeah. Usually what she does, if you try and get her to walk, she takes 2 or 3 steps and she goes,
I'm out of breath.
I'm out of breath, right? She wants to sit down and be pushed.
Well, I was a little bit PO'd because, all right, I was kind of sarcastic, and I said, oh, a miracle has happened. Praise the Lord, she's been healed. And I said to the two women that were helping her, the two physiotherapists, says, when you're done here, can I have a little private conversation with you? Because you know what's going through my head now? She has been putting on an act to me and to us, to family.
Yeah.
I mean, she does. She's still not like
Still not
she's,
can't
she's
run
not
around
running
or
around a
anything.
track or anything like that.
And she was unstable on her feet.
And she was.
But she suddenly didn't get tired when she walked 2 feet.
Yeah, and actually, I'll admit it, right or wrong, I was a little bit angry with her because I knew this was not a miracle cure. This it wasn't because she was in the hospital. Now, mind you, she's eating better in the hospital than
Yeah,
she was
so-
before, so she probably has a little bit more strength. But she has not been out of the bed. She's doing the same thing she does in her own home. She doesn't move. So I thought this was kind of strange. So I explained to the physiotherapist. I said, "Look, I haven't seen my mother walk like this in over 4 years." Told her everything I just told you. And I said, "I don't know what's going on." And the other thing that was scaring me is, oh God, if she can move like this, they're going to do some basic exercises with her over the next few days, and
Send her home.
and they'll send her home. She can't go home. There is nobody there to help her get out of bed in the morning, to help her get dressed, to help her get herself cleaned up, to help her make meals. And she won't do it on her own. I know that for a fact. So we'll be right back in the same. I'll have to phone EMS again and take her back to the hospital. But you know, the hospitals just want them out of there. I had a meeting. We went and saw the social worker about all of this, and the social worker was absolutely diddly squat no help, which is what I expected. But I thought, well, I might as well start saying what my concerns are and everything like that, get the ball rolling here. Meanwhile, we have been checking out retirement residences at $5,000 a month, assisted living, and I'm thinking what's going to happen is they might send her to another hospital for rehabilitation because they talked about that. However, I'm not sure if she'll be staying in that hospital or this is outpatient kind of stuff. So the doctor, according to my mother this afternoon, the doctor wants to talk to me. Fine. Try and find a doctor in a hospital when you want to talk to one, okay? And I'm not going to spend all of my time hanging around, waiting for this doctor to finish his rounds and other stuff he's doing in different parts of the hospital to talk to him. He's got my number. He has called me once before. It was about the MRI stuff, about getting the forms filled out. So he can call me again and have a discussion on the phone, as far as I'm concerned. We suspect that he might want to talk about a date for either sending her home or for this rehabilitation stuff. I have a word that I'm going to be using a lot right now. And you may sue me for this. You may think I'm the cruelest and hardest person there is, but that word's very simple. It's called no. If he says, well, we think we can send her home now and we wanted to do some rehabilitation, so she'll need to go to the hospital, but it's outpatient, so she'll have to get there. And I'll go, and can you suggest to me how that's going to happen, please? Well, you know, you'll have to tow and take her. And I'll go, no. I'm not going to say any more. I'm just going to say no. That's not going to happen. And look at them. Come up with a solution. You're the paid professional. You come up with a solution. Because I can't do it. Because it's just not a question of taking her to rehabilitation.
I mean, physically you could do that, but then you still have to.
She has to be dressed. She has to get cleaned up. She has to be fed. I'm not a nurse. I can't do it. Then their next thing will be, well, you can hire somebody. No, I can't. Because we can't afford it. As simple as that. So there's going to be a lot of no saying in the next little while, I figure, unless for some reason they come up with some other solution. But I don't think one of the solutions is they're not going to put her in an emergency bed in a long-term care facility. So I've pretty much made up my mind that no matter what it's going to cost, I'm going to put her in an assisted living retirement residence. And we'll go from there. We're working out the finances for this. We're working out all the logistics. Tuesday we have a tour of another. We've already checked out one place that's very close to where we live. It's only 5 minutes away. There's another one that's maybe another 10 minutes away. And we're checking that out. And we'll see what happens out of it. But I am going into this.
Well, she's still on
No
the waiting
mode.
list for a nursing home too.
Yeah,
So
and she'll remain on that. Even if we get her into a retirement residence, she'll still be on the waiting list. But the waiting list is, as you know, 4 to 7 years. So I don't know, but I've had it. I can't take much more of it. Um, so I'm gonna have to start putting my foot down and be a real bastard. And that's not beneath me to be that way. Okay, so that takes me to events in the past week. Well, I have another little video clip to show you about snow. When I went out for my morning walk a week ago, this is what I experienced. So I'm on my morning walk a little later than usual, but right now you can see we had some snow yesterday, and yeah, it's snowy. This is November the 10th, 2025, and this is my neighborhood I'm walking through. And it's not a lot of snow, but it is cold for this walk today. It's -5, but with the wind chill factor, it feels like -12, -13. It is snowing right now, very, very lightly, but it's supposed to warm up this week, and this will all disappear. And you can see the trees still have leaves, so yeah, this is a early snowfall. I don't know if this is a sign of things to come. We will see. But it's really changed my walking routine as well, because usually I come out at about 6:30 in the morning. It is now about 10 after 9. I decided to come out when there's daylight, and I thought it might warm up a bit, but it really hasn't. And it's overcast, no sun in the sky. And as I said, well, the snow is getting a little heavier in its fall. So this is not unusual in parts of Canada, but where I live, this is, well, not that unusual either, but didn't really expect it yet. This came kind of out of the blue, I guess. But whatever, I have to live with it. Nothing we can do about the weather. So I put on my winter boots. There they are. And I got a scarf on and my coat. And yeah, it's chilly. But I've got to maintain my routine as best I can for my health. And yeah, it just allows you to clear your head too. And besides, the cold will keep me fresher longer. So that just gives you a little taste of what we experience here in Canada. And believe me, this is nothing as bad as it is in other parts of Canada. In fact, other parts of Canada, anybody living out in the West Coast or up north and that, laughing their heads off at that video going, oh, really? That is nothing. Okay, so on Saturday, I went to Walter's Sew Day. Every now and then, well, usually once a month or so, they have a sew day, and it's an in-person one. And he's down there working on garments with his group. So I decided I'd go. I hadn't been to one in quite a while, and I got a lot done. In fact, you can see part of what I got done behind me. I'm working on a Christmas quilt. It may not be done for this Christmas, but that's what I got done. 4 blocks. Those are big blocks, about 14 inches in size. Yeah, so it was pleasant. It was nice. Totally different atmosphere. We talked about this on Stephen and Walter Live from my sew days with my gang. I'm not saying better or worse because it's not. They're both different. This is mostly made up of men that are there. Only one lady. No, there were 2 ladies in the group, and they're a serious lot. They get down to it and work. Not a lot of chatter happening. I kind of missed that. I like my pop-up sew days where we're all talking about different things and stuff like that. But anyways, it was kind of fun. And they're having another one in December, and they're kind of doing it like a little Christmas luncheon as well. So I may be going to that one. I have to decide whether or not I'm having a pop-up sew day in December because, December's busy. But we'll see. Stay tuned. Okay, so what's coming up? Well, the pop-up sew day, as I've already mentioned earlier, but just as another reminder, this Saturday, November the 22nd, 2025, starting at 8, ending at 4 Eastern Time. Come and go as you please. And the link's in the show notes. And I'm off to the dentist. Yep, after I post this up, I have a dental appointment for a cleaning. I hate it. It gives me anxiety all the time. Last one I went to 4 months ago, because she does them every 4 months. Yeah. Tell me that's not a money grab, because I think it is. I'm very conscientious about my teeth. My parents had bad teeth. I do not want that. Um, I brush a minimum of 3 times a day after every meal. I also water pick 3 times a day. I also floss very thoroughly 3 times a day. But she's going to get in there with her bloody instruments and go to China in my mouth. Last time it was okay. Uh, she was still working away, but this is a make money project, because I can't believe that in 4 months, given my oral hygiene routine, that there is that much for her to scrape away. And I just hate it. And it doesn't help that I have to go out and brush off the snow off my car and drive with other crazy drivers on the road to the dentist today. I am not a happy camper about this. But on the other hand, it's preventative medicine, I guess. So, yeah, that's what I have to look forward to today. And later this week, I get to go to the eye doctor, have my eyes tested, every 18 months, because that's what's covered here in Ontario in our healthcare. Every 18 months, you can get your eyes tested. And at the same time, I'm going to look into buying new glasses, new frames. I love these frames. I think I've loved these more than any other glasses I've ever had before, and but they're getting worn. I've had these for about 3 years or so, and they're getting scratched up and whatnot. So I'm hoping I can get a new pair of frames that are also in like this clear acrylic, because I really like this. And yeah, we'll see. Um, so that's all Thursday. I do that. So busy week with the sewing day on Wednesday, pop up on Saturday. This is a busy week. So I hope you're busy. Your week is not quite as busy, although if you're an American, I know Thanksgiving is next week. So you probably are busy. It's the season. 'Tis the season for it all. Okay, well, anyways, just remember, if things start to get to you, if you get stressed out by all of the seasonal things that one needs to do, take a minute to do something you enjoy, whatever that is. Half an hour out of your day. It does help. It does help. Okay. Hope you have a great week. We'll see you later. Bye for now.